We are now recording the June 16th, 2017 Small Business Accounting Advisors. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
And we're saying hi to our new member, Peggy West. Hi, Peggy.
Hello, how are you?
Good. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, in 5 weeks, I'll have my bachelor's degree in accounting, and it's been a real struggle these past 2 years. Last year, I decided I wanted to start offering bookkeeping services to small business owners, namely contractors. I was helping this one guy out, and oh my gosh, he's such a pain. But he's my pain, so I'm not ready to get rid of him yet. But I want to learn everything there is to know about QuickBooks. I used it like 12 years ago. I'm sorry if you hear a noise. That's my air conditioner just kicking in. I used it about 12, 14 years ago, something like that, and I haven't used it since. I'm a accounting specialist for the city that I live in, and we use a totally different financial software, but I don't think it's that different. You know, QuickBooks has its own world altogether, but
absolutely,
I see some of the similarities. Yeah, it's in its own world. And that's pretty much about it.
Are you a pro advisor?
Yes, ma'am. I signed up for that. I took the certification and everything, got that taken care of.
So you're a paid pro advisor? You've paid for the program?
No, ma'am.
Oh, so just QBO.
They offered a webinar one day, training or whatever online, and I took the training online.
So it's online, not desktop.
The one that they trained for, I think, was the online one.
Online, yeah.
The desktop one, no. But the problem that I was having is in desktop.
Well, my suggestion to you would be to become a paid pro advisor. They have a cheaper rate that's like around $300, and with that you get QuickBooks software.
Mm-hmm.
And then what you want to do is use that software for your own personal finances. You'll get a real feel of how to get around. It'll become more comfortable for you. You'll have a better idea of what can be done and what not. And plus, you get all the training that goes with that, too.
Okay.
So desktop has its own training. And you'll want to take that. And the guides that they have are really, really great.
Jana, I thought they got rid of in the cheapest plan. You don't get any software. Just you only get the like accountant copy. You don't get like enterprise solutions
or Mac
or point of sale.
Point of sale, like you don't for the cheapest one. I think
you get the accountant's version of Premier.
You want the accountant's version of Premier.
That's all you get with the cheapest package, right?
Plus the training.
Right.
Training, certification, and higher level of support.
Right. What is the point of sale?
For, like grocery stores, retail shops and stuff like that.
How does that work? Because I haven't like researched on
You
it
have to
yet.
buy
But
a
that's
POS
something.
system.
Yeah, you need a point of sale system. So, like if you're at a restaurant or any
bar,
so my client
a bar,
is a
anything that sells.
They have a point of sale system is not linked to QuickBooks Desktop yet. Everything's done manually.
Right. So that's where you would get the point of sales, QuickBooks point of sale, and sync it to your point of sale system.
If it's on the same,
if it's on the same
location,
compatible.
When they're saying point of sale, there's point of sale hardware and point of sale software.
Yeah. So I need a point of sale software.
Well, they use their hardware, and you can. I believe it's been a while. I wish we had Brandon here to talk to us, but I believe you can use your QuickBooks point of sale software with other hardware, not just the QuickBooks hardware.
Right. I believe most point of sale systems are compatible with QuickBooks point of sale software.
And where would I be able to find more detail on this?
Your Pro Advisor account.
My
So-
provider account? I don't
Do you have a client that has a point of sale need? Or is that something you just want to broaden your learning?
My client could use it.
Okay, because what you do is you start with a client. What kind of business? What are their needs? And the point of sale system that QuickBooks wrote, pretty generic, great in some areas, isn't great in other areas, and it runs on a computer. So it's expensive because you have to buy a computer, then you have to buy all their hardware, the drawer and the receipt printer and everything. Then you have to buy their software. And other point of sale systems are different. They have online inventory control. This is just on a PC. So they even make it difficult to back it up on a server even, but it works. And then you have to, when you look at these point of sale systems, most of them will say we interface with QuickBooks. Don't believe them. Because how do they interface with QuickBooks? You don't want, and usually there's two ways to interface. One is just everything, and the other is just in summary at the end of the day. I do this with my museums. We have Intuit point of sale, and they do end of day. And we have to make sure everybody's out of QuickBooks before the gift shop closes because it won't work. Everybody gets out. They do end of day, and it syncs. It opens up the QuickBooks file, and it posts the total sales, cost of sales, and all the accounts receivable bills for the receiving vouchers. So I like it interfaced because, one, accounts payable is done, and inventory is supposed to stay in balance. Some people choose to just keep the accounting and their point of sale separate and do sales receipts, journal entries, so many different ways to get the
what my
information
client's
in
doing.
total. I have some where you can get reports off your point of sale weekly, monthly.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they don't need it every day. Maybe they don't need it every month. You know, are you compiling it? Some people need it compiled more often because they're really into management reports and want to see what their business is doing.
Mm-hmm.
But the point of sale might have reports that'll satisfy that side of the equation. So there's so many things to look at. I do so little retail. It is so tedious. And inventory control is just one of those areas where I know any installation that I've done or setup that I've done has been extremely labor intensive. So I will farm that off to somebody else. So, you know, as you're starting out, you'll get a feel for what you enjoy and what really, you know, you're interested in. And, you know, if you want to go a retail angle, if you really want to go after stores and things like that, then I would spend a lot of energy learning all the different solutions, what's out there. If you want to get certified in point of sale, if you're a paid pro advisor, you can get certified in point of sale. But be careful about spreading your interest too thin. I think when you're so much to learn, you know.
I was certified in point of sale for a couple of years.
Uh-huh.
And what I would say is it's not something you dabble in.
Exactly.
You know, it's got a really steep learning curve. And it really only makes sense if you're going to specialize in it because the knowledge is changing. And if you're not constantly doing it, I mean, it's fairly complex setup where you're, you know, linking up in theory, the way it works is all the data is housed in the point of sale and is just sent to QB into the QuickBooks file by journal entries. And for the detailed reports on inventory, you would go to the point of sale system. And so you have the problems of keeping the systems in sync. Well, Brandon could speak more to it, but what I'd say is it's not something you dabble in, it's something you make a commitment to. And so you might be interested as you're starting out, but keep in mind you're kind of picking a pathway too if you go down too far. And because you only got so much time and energy to devote to your business. And so I would say, learn about it, but think carefully about whether or not it's for you.
Mm-hmm. I'll give you an example. I've set up all these gift shops with point of sale, right?
Hey, Brandon, we're talking point of sale here.
Yeah. Point of sale. So now it's one of those things that once I have them set up and they're doing their end of day and everything, it's really tricky to get set up correctly. But once it starts, once they know what they're doing and it's working. So yesterday morning, and this is how we lost 3 hours yesterday. I got a phone call and the gift shop opened at 10. This is 10:30 and they're like, we can't get into our point of sale. Can you help? So when I walked in the office, Angela had her screen up and here's this message that said, do you want to open a data file or do you want to start a new data file or do you want to restore a backup? I'm like, whoa. What are you doing? And it defaulted to their company name, the company folder, and you hit OK, and it come right back to that screen. What I didn't know was before we got in, they had even clicked. The clerk had gotten the manager. The manager dialed in. She had more rights than the clerk. She tried them all.
Oh.
She gets down to restore from a backup, okay? And I tried this later. There's no warning. There's no nothing. It came up, and the system will do a backup when they do end of day if they check it, okay? So it saves like 10 days worth, okay? So guess what the list is sorted in date order, oldest to the newest. So the one at the top is the one she clicked on. So she restored it back to May 25th or something, okay? Anyway, it was a burp in the software. I said, wait. Did anybody reboot before you call? So we reboot all the machines. We reboot the machine. We get back in, and now we can get in normally, and we're on May 25th. Okay, don't panic. Don't panic. We have a backup, a scheduled backup every day at 3 o'clock, but we moved it to 3 o'clock. We used to have it on 3 a.m. But every once in a while, they would turn the computer off and I wouldn't get a backup. And then it when it's backing up, it'll just lock up the screen for about 3 minutes or something. So we picked 3 o'clock. Well, we really should have picked like 4:30 or 4, because what's happened was when you have a schedule, and this is just throwing it out there just to show you how here's somebody who actually did the installation. I have a copy of point of sale. I know enough about it to be dangerous. So, but yet they come to me. So we looked at the dates on the backups at the end of day, and there's all these holes. And I looked at a calendar. I said, who worked on Thursday? Okay. Who worked on Friday? Okay. Who worked on Saturday? I don't have a backup. Fred. Okay. Susie, Fred. Fred. Okay. Every single time Fred worked at end of day, it says, print my end of day Z reports, make a backup, but you have to click on where to put it. It's blank. All the clerks know to do that except for Fred.
Fred's close.
And then the third question is interface with QuickBooks. So I'm just to give you an idea, we lost 2 hours worth of work because I had to restore to 3 o'clock the day before, but it had interfaced at the end of the day. So now I've got my QuickBooks is straight, but now point of sale. I'm just telling you, two of us lost a couple hours worth of work for this one mistake.
Can I ask a question about that? That Fred guy, you said that it only happened when Fred is working. Maybe they need to check Fred.
Yeah, we need to have a look.
What's going on with Fred?
Have a little chit chat with Fred. But the thing is, But see, to me, that's software. There are so many things that a software developer can do to prevent errors.
Yeah.
First of all, how about you're about to overwrite all your data? Are you sure? Are you really sure? Okay, that wasn't there. The other is the date order of the backups was, why would you default to the oldest one? Okay, and then the other is, if there's a scheduled backup in the system, when you tell it to back up, the field is blank and you have to click on it and just hit the word default. That's a programming problem, because humans aren't perfect and we need as much protection to not make errors. But anyway, we figured out most of it, and we have a couple hours worth of stuff. I said your inventory will be out. We'll find out. I'll get with her tonight how much extra money we have, and I'm just going to stick it in the bank, and we'll do an inventory adjustment at some point, but we'll never know. She called the guy that was working and said, do you remember what you sold yesterday afternoon? And he didn't remember a couple things. So anyway, scary. But see now, okay, point of sale is only one thing. What is it? Revel, Brandon?
Right.
That's like a online. Where'd he go? Oh, he's coming in. So there are other products that are more suited, I think, for retail than desktop
Right.
point of sale. But did he disappear?
He might be in a noisy place.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. Well, I didn't mean to go off on a point of sale tangent. But.
That's okay. Adam, I'm going to go to you and have you talk about what we talked about before we started recording, about your backup of work and your new clients.
Oh my God, man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So basically I'm in sort of back where Kel, as I was saying, and I'm basically going to be stuck until August doing all this. I have 2 bars. One of them has basically their old bookkeeper had QuickBooks and they never got the file. And it was like a CPA firm. They never got the file. And then they hired another bookkeeper, which is like a friend of a friend. And all she did was run the payroll and everything. So she didn't do bookkeeping for 15 or 16. So I have to basically
2 years?
Yeah.
How do they do their taxes?
I have an extension for 16, and then we have to basically file 15 late because I said this takes a while to build this thing, man. Like, and I basically just gives me like receipts, and I'm just manually just rolling it in.
Do they have a point of sale system? A cash
This is
register?
like old school dive bar.
That means there's a lot of fraud.
Yeah.
A lot of stolen money. You just made it to the bank, it goes into revenue.
As this organized as this everything was, he's actually pretty on top of things.
Really?
He's got all his files organized. He's got all his bills. He's filed really nice.
Statements?
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, he looks like
You're
he's
just doing a massive write-up, right?
Huh?
You're doing a massive write-up.
Yeah. And then I have another bar, and when they started, she basically bought into the bar with like $170,000 last in 2016. And when I got to do the tax return, I said, well, I need the partnership agreement so I can make sure the equity's in line and everything like that. She's like, well, we never signed anything. And they had $1.2 million in sales, and I'm like, you should have before day one had something in writing.
Lawsuit waiting to happen.
And now the partner, I think he was drowning in the bar and he wanted to sell it cheap. He's like, I just want to get out of it, sell it cheap. And he's like, I want to have someone buy in so I don't have to deal with anything. And now he wants she told me he wants $10,000 a month.
But he doesn't even have anything in writing that says he even owns the bar.
Correct. And he's like, I also don't want to pay any taxes on anything.
Oh, of course not.
Like, well, if you're a partner, I don't know what
they're prepaying you, right?
Huh?
They're prepaying you, right?
Yeah. Well, the woman who bought into it is my client. This guy is not.
Oh, she bought into it. Well, there would be a whole new partnership agreement and a whole new partnership.
That's why I asked for the partnership agreement around tax time, so I made sure everything was in line.
Yeah.
There is none.
You have to get a new federal ID number and everything for a new partnership?
Yep.
Payroll, new payroll?
Yep.
It's a whole new business.
And the woman, my client who was a partner, she was taking money, she was on payroll and taking draws at the same time.
Yeah.
You didn't know any better.
Well, she's not, like, her finances are all shitsville. And she's like, I'm like, why are you taking a payroll? And she's like, well, I need to get paid. I'm like, well, we need to figure out your finances and then you take a draw. So, and then I have another client, they're a soccer coach I got from Profit First, and they've got 48 different revenue accounts.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah, and they run all this stuff on unearned revenue because, like, a lot of people will pay for their camps like in November, December, January. They'll pay the camps then, and then they send their kids or whatever. And so the money technically isn't earned until the camp's over. And then I guess that's how they used to track their unearned revenue. And I said, I said, their profit and loss is 5 pages long. I said, there's no reason this is 5 pages long.
Are they going through item codes, or are they just doing deposits?
Just deposits to straight revenue accounts.
Yeah, I love when people do their own. It makes sense to them.
Well, yeah.
And for management purposes, they might be getting what they need. It's just that we come in and go.
And I had a meeting with them on a Zoom call, and I said, we need to strip this down, man. I said, there's no reason this business should have a 5-page profit and loss. I said there are multinational corporations that don't have a 5-page profit and loss. And they're like, well, this is the way we want to do it, and blah, blah, blah. And then there's 90 months of reconciliations that need to be done because it's four entities. It's like, one does the coaching, one is another thing, and then there's a holdings and enterprise company because they own a facility, and then they pay each other rent, and there's transfers back and forth. And one of the entities isn't on QuickBooks. I only have access to 2 of the 4, and I said the amount that I see now, just 2 entities out of the 4, there's 90 months of bookkeeping, 90 months of reconciliations that need to be done, like, before we start anything. And we don't want to do that right now. The owner's like, I have 9 weeks to do this. I don't want to be doing that. I want you to do, like, cash management. I'm like, well, I'm not your, how are you going to know what your stuff is if you don't have everything reconciled?
Yeah, just walk in blind and let me see. Ooh.
So you just get all the problem children, huh?
I mean, I'm like, I'll look at your dashboard and tell you what your dashboard says, but outside of that, what can we really do? I mean,
they're not taking your advice anyway on anything that you want to tell them.
And I was telling Gina before the recording that I feel like it should just, because this is their time of year where they're the busiest there is. And it's like, I want to drop them, but at the same time, I feel like compelled because they kind of.
A good pep talk from Deb Kilsheimer.
Yeah.
That?
You need a good pep talk from Deb Kilsheimer.
Oh, Deborah?
Yeah.
I haven't seen her in a long time.
I just found her YouTube channel. I didn't know she had a YouTube channel.
I'll have to look for it.
Boy, she'll just set you straight.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure she will, man.
She's awesome.
I really think.
Put up
What's her YouTube channel called?
Is it under Deb Kilsheimer? Or is it under?
Well, I know she does that podcast with Seth, so I don't know if it's under that name or if it's under her name.
YouTube is just Deborah Kilsheimer.
Okay. That's awesome. But I was starting to say there are a lot of clients out there. I think you'll find a lot of people out there that they just want to do it their way, and they don't want to spend a whole lot of money. So the things, and they've gone.
Well, it's almost like they need an internal person to do their accounting for them, because they need someone who speaks the language of their books the way they want it. And I'm like, I'm not here to do things the way you want it. I'm here to do the things the way it's supposed to be done. And they're not giving me everything I need for that.
Well, do they fit your business model?
Hell no.
Then I would say that unless you're getting a premium for your services, I would say, you know,
Adam,
let them go.
it's
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
to bury a cow.
Yeah.
You need to drop them because all that's going to do is drain you of your energy
Amen.
and cause your business to go down.
Yeah.
It's
If
just
they
like
don't want to do the right thing, then they can find somebody else who wants to do it their way.
yeah.
If they
It's like
don't
being
think-
in a bad relationship, right? Where
Yeah.
you're in a bad relationship and you're so involved with the bad relationship, the real one goes by.
Yep.
And you don't see them.
Well, my
They
new
don't
niche-
see you because, you know.
the niche that I'm trying to focus on is like legals and loan professionals. Like I just said, I signed up for some SEO for some law stuff, and
Well,
They're
that,
They're hard to find because they're
Huh?
that's primo work.
yeah.
Yeah.
Are you making a
Love to
profit
have
on them?
someone off of 'em.
Are you making a profit on them when you start figuring out all the money you can't bill them? You know,
I mean, even if he's not making a profit on them, it doesn't fit. Number one, it doesn't fit his business model.
right.
Number two, it is causing him stress.
Mhm.
And number three, the whole point should be you and your client should be working together to accomplish the same goal.
Well,
They
it's kind of
want-
like it's kind of like he hired me and said, "Well, now I gotta leave for 9 weeks, so I'll see you then."
No, that's not acceptable.
Yeah, and that's kind of my whole theme is like I can't, you know, he's got his business partner and his assistant taking Zoom meetings with me. I'm like, I don't even know who you really are, dude. You know.
Did you put it in your engagement that if he's not going to turn in stuff on time and
I have like a time of the essence in my engagement saying
Sometimes
"Oh,
time of the essence doesn't work. Sometimes you have to say exactly.
Yeah.
well,
Well, it basically says that work is contingent on things being turned in.
absolutely. And Adam, if you continue to do the same thing, you will get the same results.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what
Sounds like somebody needs to email Adam a Dear John letter so he can give it to his client. It's not you, honey. It's me.
But I'm trying to, there's a couple of garbage clients I'm purging these next couple of months. So.
Yeah, be careful. Don't purge too much like I did.
I know. But you know what? The funny thing is sometimes people say free isn't always free.
Yeah.
Sometimes the client that looks like they're gonna be your whale turns out to be worse.
Worse or better?
Well,
What?
I've had better. I have
I've
hired
gotten some
clients.
messes.
No, you know what? I as I keep saying, I'm channeling my inner Betty White. And let me tell you, I am a woman of a certain age, and I am not putting up with people's bull anymore. Done. I don't care if you could potentially bring in $1 million to my business. If we are not speaking the same language, I don't want to talk to you, because here's the thing. I now have to adjust my way of doing things.
Yeah.
And that shift does not work for me.
5 pages of profit loss is 5 pages, and they got negative $57,000 as loss of 57 grand.
my thing
Yeah,
is,
but is it real?
Yeah.
What's the ca- what's
How do
the
you
cash
know
flow?
if it's real if they're not giving you the stuff
Sounds
you
like
need to do
revenue's
it right?
not good. Sounds like revenue's not
What
good.
does their statement of cash flow say? You know, they're making
Well,
money.
that's 16, so
You know we're recording, right, Dennis?
yeah.
Yeah.
Just wanted to remind you if you had forgotten.
No, I haven't forgotten.
So I do.
He's like, tell me what it is. Let me get in there and play around with it. Let me tweak. Let me massage it.
Theory, is it good or bad, or have you looked at the?
No, we forget that we record this thing, and sometimes we talk.
I haven't heard any client names.
Please, you know our clients are so unique. They will know you are talking about them the minute they hear a
Some of the
conversation.
clients watch this.
I do want to say that I have fired a client for not listening to what I said before. And they tried to say, oh, well, I'll pay you more. And I had to tell them it's not about the money.
I had one client, I fired him a year ago because he was not communicating with me and not doing this and not doing that. And then he got this, it's a home health care company. He was doing they needed an annual financials and he was 10 months behind on bookkeeping. I said, well, just give me the 10 months, I'll do it. And then I sent him an invoice and now he's paying me weekly now, but once he pays me, I'm done with him. But basically he was saying I'm being hostile for demanding all this money. And I'm like, well,
my outcome was
Not stealing, buddy.
I did retain that client. He did come back to me and he said, what do you need? And I was able to spell it out. And now we have like a great relationship. I get what I need.
And they didn't miss that part until the well run.
I don't know. I guess you have to train them and tell them what you're willing to accept and not accept.
And sometimes you need to be firm about it.
Don't you hate that though? Don't you just want to do accounting?
But especially if they're just
that's why I went to automatic payments now.
Too.
Yeah.
They're used to doing everything by themselves. They don't like think with any type of control whatsoever.
But the funny thing is, just because you do it yourself don't mean you're doing it right.
Exactly.
I have a tax client who basically, I asked him to fill out some paperwork for me so I know who he is, how many kids he has, and the information that I will put on the tax return. He said, why am I filling out all of this paperwork? If I had to fill all this stuff out, then I could do the taxes myself. It's not like it's a knowledge thing. It's just a time thing. I just don't have the time to do it. That's why I'm asking you. I had to turn around. I said, what did you just say?
The IRS comes and talks to you. It'll be a whole different.
Mind you, this particular client came to me after an audit from the green people. He was with the green people and they screwed him up. And then they didn't even back up the guarantee. They told him no.
Green
H&R Block.
You really want me to say it? You really want me to say it?
Oh my gosh.
And then I'm like, look, this is my company's policy. This is how we work. And he basically was telling me how to do. He's like, I don't want to fill out all this stuff. Little does he know, when I finish his return, because an extension, he won't be coming back. You can find somebody else.
My husband just texted me what's the food order.
He ain't coming back. Not today.
He texted me what's my food order.
Oh my goodness.
No bobbing.
I told you. I don't know when it happened. But it just hit me. I'm getting rid of folks. This is what I do. This is how I do it. This is how much I charge for it. If you do not fit within that circle, I could give you the number to the 3 H&R Blocks that's in my town.
What software do you use right now? Taxes.
Drake.
I have a thing next week, all-day Drake training, and they're coming to my town.
Woohoo! I changed to Drake literally in February.
I'm switching for this next season.
I did it, and again, I had a really awesome teacher.
What was your last one?
Huh?
What did you switch from?
TaxSlayer Pro.
Okay.
And I literally, the only reason I did it when I did it was Joanne, literally, because we co-work almost every day during tax season. Actually, we co-work all the time. And we do we created this thing called virtual co-working. Right. So it's where, like, I'm here in my office alone. She's in her office alone. We Zoom together. She's working on her stuff. I'm working on my stuff, especially if we're doing taxes. If she has a question or gets stuck, she'd be like, oh, is this what, can you, and we would literally research it together and figure out what the answer is. And we found that we were very productive when we did it. Sarah didn't like it when she joined us that one time because she's a talker. So we would literally, there would be silence, or we'd be playing music or whatever, and we would knock through like tax return after tax return. And if we get stuck, we'd bounce questions off each other. And so this co-working, we've been doing this co-working thing now for
It's an
this is our
concept.
third.
When
This
you
is our
work
third.
by yourself to then be like it really does feel like you're there.
Yep. Like there's somebody in the room.
Like there's somebody in the room.
Yep.
And so you just quietly work, except that one of y'all would start singing. And then,
Because you need to break up that monotony. It's that whole, you have to get up and walk around sometimes, because we found that when we do it, we would literally knock off stuff one right after the other, and we'd still be sitting there for hours at a time. So it's that, you break up that monotony of the tax return by doing something else. So your brain shifts to something else, and then you come back and you find we got more stuff done. But anyway, the reason why I switched to Drake was because Joanne told me to. No, I'm going to start have more tax planning. So my Tax Slayer Pro doesn't really do that. So that's why I switched to Drake. But she was my Drake person. So if I'm in Drake, she's in Drake. She's been using Drake for years. So she was able to help me figure stuff out. So that's the only reason I was able to get through tax season, switching Drake literally in February, and converting over.
you're a brave woman.
Yeah. But now that I've done it, I've come to see the value in it, and it worked out really well. And then we met Panda Doc. Woo-wee!
And it's your new
I
toy.
ain't never been in love like this before.
What is it, Panda what?
Panda Doc. PANDADOC. Well,
That with attitude.
let me tell you.
There's something to her.
Woo! Get me all hot and bothered when I think about Panda Doc. Sending documents, getting people to sign stuff online. I don't have to print nothing.
Right.
Woo!
You sure are too bad.
Who was it that said accountants were boring? Who was that?
Oh, but Drake did when you do it, Adam, you're gonna be like, when you get in here, start playing around with it and all the things you gotta do, it's gonna make you think a little bit more than you were with whatever software you were using before. Yeah. And it's really good. I actually like it. And then you have the option of doing paper return. So if you're under a certain amount, you're not spending all that extra money for the unlimited.
Right.
So that I ended up doing the paper because I didn't need unlimited. And I made my clients pay me before I engaged the tax return, so it worked out really well.
Nice. Hey, Linda. Glad you could join us.
Linda's here.
Yeah. I bought some nice headphones. I bought some Bose headphones.
Oh,
Nice.
Work. I can't get them to.
Oh, no.
Hey, but the box looks good.
Did Linda?
It's a flexi box.
Linda, did you plug it in the hole?
Stop.
No, there's two. There's the microphone, and then there's the other one.
Yeah, but I think I'm going to have to return it. This is a new computer because my other one crashed.
Oh, so it may not be.
So you only have one? You only have one hole on your laptop?
One circular hole.
Because normally there's two. There's one for a microphone, like an actual mic.
Yeah.
That has a picture of a mic, and then there's usually a second hole for the headphones.
Well, there's more like a rectangular hole. I think there's three.
Are they wireless?
They're not wireless, are they?
No, the earphones were not wireless. I
Do
delivered.
they look like this?
No.
Do
No.
they're like, no, I'm saying, look, do they look like this?
Yes, but the ends don't look like that. I'll go
Okay,
get.
hold on. You got to take them off.
Well, tell us this. How far have you gotten in the
When
installation?
she comes back, I'm going to move on to Peggy. Peggy had some questions regarding bills and checks. Now, do you want to explain it to us in the desktop?
All right. Before I found the Facebook pages and everything, I decided I was gonna try to do a lot of stuff myself. I just created the account for this guy. I mean, when I first met him, he bought me a size man 13 shoebox of receipts, and wow.
They give you a fancy little box to hold them in.
Okay.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, that's it. You got it.
I know. I have the headphones in my ear.
I'm sorry.
They
Don't
work in
say-
your computer because they don't work in mine.
Linda, we'll come back. We'll come back. Peggy's asking us a question.
Sorry.
well, anyway, I was watching all these YouTube videos, and I think that's where I messed up at about how you can quickly import information into the system. And one of them was to do the bank feed, and I did the bank feed. Well, I didn't watch anything past that one, and I think I screwed up real bad because
I don't like those bank feeds. Not in desktop.
I think I like doing it by hand because, you know, I get it done quicker and I know the receipts as I go. But the problem is I created an invoice instead for money already collected.
Oh,
And
I saw
found
that
out
post on Facebook, but I got a little confused because let's back up a minute.
Yes,
We've got
ma'am.
a couple terminology problems here.
Okay.
Okay, so one is paying bills
Mm-hmm.
and have expenses. Okay, so first of all, you're doing accrual, so you want to use accounts payable and accounts receivable, or you're doing just deposits and just checks?
He does cash basis. He receives, you know, he gets
All right,
paid
so cash basis is,
money on it right then and there.
yeah, so you can, in QuickBooks, you can post things accrual, meaning putting a bill and then pay it with a bill payment, or selling an invoice and receiving a payment on the invoice.
Right.
Okay. But then print cash basis reports. That's different. Or forget AP and AR and just do plain old checks, and it gets expensed on the date of the check, and plain old deposits, and it gets recognized as revenue on the date of the deposit.
Oh,
So when
Okay.
you're bringing the information in through bank feed, you want to use the income accounts or the expense accounts.
Right.
Money deposited would generally be income unless they're putting money into the business, then it's an equity.
Right, right. Depends on where the money, what
Right.
kind of money it
For
is. So,
expenses.
but here, let me say, when you say bill, we think accounts payable and we owe it.
okay.
Okay.
Well,
When you say invoice, you sold something. So
Right.
now do it again.
Well, see now see that. Okay, here I am again, back in the same place, because when I posted this in like a QuickBooks group in LinkedIn or whatever, they was telling, oh no, he didn't already got paid for, so no, don't create an invoice, create a bill.
Okay,
And so-
Peggy. Wait,
You get money,
Peggy.
you're paying
Write
money.
a check.
Wait, Peggy.
Ma'am?
What is he doing?
He's a
What?
construction, he's a general contractor.
Okay, so he has customers
Right.
and he's invoicing them.
Yes.
So is he creating invoices, or are you setting up his QuickBooks file from scratch?
I had to set it up from scratch. I'm telling you, he brought me a shoebox
Okay.
Okay.
of receipts.
So he's
So I had to set it
creating,
up from scratch.
he's
So-
creating his invoices like by Word or something.
Yes.
Side
Okay.
QuickBooks.
Yeah.
Got
Yeah.
okay. So now we've got that. We'll talk customer side first.
Okay.
So basically, because you're setting it up, your option is to create invoice, use the invoices he manually done,
Okay.
create those in QuickBooks, just, recreate them in QuickBooks, When you take the bank feed deposits, you can then pay those invoices. So it clears it. So he can then track his customer, what his customer owes, what is remaining. You could still be able to track that going forward.
Okay.
So that's one way to do it.
Tell her about undeposited funds to the bank. That's
exactly. You go ahead. That was going to be the next.
So go ahead.
She's starting from. She's literally creating. She's creating his stuff from scratch. I think that's the key.
Yeah.
That we didn't get.
Yeah.
Is that there was no QuickBooks files for this company. Never. Okay. So she literally is starting from scratch. So
I'm a literally new person at it.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have to go way back to the beginning.
Well, you have a choice, though. You could just do a cash basis until you're caught up, and then
that's what I wanted to know about right there.
Okay, because that's a lot of work. You got to put in all the invoices that you've had the money forever.
Right.
But then the next step is receive the money on the invoice.
Right.
Then you got to pull it to the deposit slips. If you're doing bank feeds, the bank feed only knows the deposit, and if it isn't there to match,
right?
Exactly.
The problem was too, like the young man that was just here not too long ago, it's like pulling a tooth with him. I have to literally fire him every month to get what I need. He's just decided to trust me enough to give me limited access to his bank account where I can download his bank statement and stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, I need your Home Depot bank statement. He sent them to me, but like 2 months ago, he is terrible.
Okay, so the other thing for you to, Peggy, write this down. HubDoc.
Oh yeah, I just signed up for that.
Look at you, see?
Yeah.
Look at all this.
Grow up a little bit.
Look at all this good stuff you're getting. When you leave here, she gonna go get a glass of wine and celebrate, right?
Yeah, maybe a ultralight.
There you go.
Okay. But it's like, I love working with the desktop version. I'm not gonna lie to you. I do like it a lot more than the online version because I ain't got the hang of that one either. So, but I get confused because like this 197 been hovering in one spot, and I'm like, well, where did that come from? Where apparently I went into the bank feed and I was adding them from the bank feed instead of creating the invoices or creating bills to make payments or whatever on them. So this 197 is just sitting there. And I'm like, he did receive this money, but
so here's the manually.
Huh?
You're saying you have a deposit for $197, you don't know why it's there?
Oh, I'm sorry, not deposit, an expense.
Oh, an expense. Okay.
Right, and it showed that it's paid, but then I don't see anything, a bill or invoice to go with it, and I don't know how to find it.
Was it a credit card?
No, he doesn't.
Where do you see it? Where do you see it?
In the vendor balance.
Okay.
Going to the vendor center. Center.
Okay.
And over there where it says the balance due.
Okay.
Right next to their names.
Okay.
Right
Pop that open.
So that means a bill was created for 197.
Yeah.
Okay. And I probably messed it up anyway. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna get into it again. And when I talk to you guys,
I have a little trick for you. I have a little trick for you. When we're done here, I'll Zoom with you and I'll show you what it is.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Control H.
I know, right?
Control H is your friend.
Control H, what is that? Help?
Is your friend. History. Pop open any transaction, Control H, it'll show you everything that's linked together. A bill should be linked to a bill payment. Invoices will be linked to payments.
Yep, customer payments.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have to open the vendor card first? Is that what it is? You have to open the vendor card and then press Control H?
No, you just have to have a transaction on the screen. Like you could be in reading a journal ledger. You could read a P&L, zoom in on a number, see a transaction, pop it open. Control H. I mean,
okay.
It's also up in the menu, hidden up at the top.
Because I did run because I was listening to Linda the other day, And I did run an open invoices, so I was able to find one that I needed to get rid of. Thank God. I told you I love you guys. You just don't know. You guys are my new best friends.
But you know what? If you're playing catch up, if you're trying to get him caught up, you may want to just post those checks and post those deposits.
That's what I was trying to do.
And then pick a day. Say, okay, June 30th.
Right.
Tell me everybody that owes you money. And if you want to run an accrual, then put in all the what hasn't been paid and all the bills that you haven't paid.
Okay.
And then go on with the rest of the year. Now, month to month may be wonky, but by the time you get to December, it might be fine.
Yeah.
Well, that's a big word, Mike.
Oh, it should be. I mean, it should be. I mean, there's transition, like, I don't know about you, but if a tax return was done at December 31st, what numbers were used? If you start putting in accounts payable or accounts receivable for money that came in first couple weeks of January, you might be posting them in the wrong year. There's timing issues.
Like I said, I only started doing the QuickBooks form this year, but the last year and the year before, I was actually doing everything in Excel, but I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
You know, so, and what made me decide to go ahead and put them in QuickBooks because he wanted me to change the Excel file to look this way, look that way, and I really had a problem with that.
To do what?
He's like, oh no, I can't make that much money, but you made the money.
Oh no, he ain't trying to get you to mess with the numbers.
I said, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna send you your file and you do what you want to do with it. Don't expect that from me because it's not gonna happen.
There you go.
I mean, you looking for somebody named Betty Bubblegum. I don't know, but I'm not. I'm not. I'm sorry.
I tell you. These clients, I tell you, man.
Yeah.
Ooh, wait.
And I try to be patient with him because he is giving me an opportunity, whereas I never, you know, to learn as I go. You know, so I try to look at it like that before when I take it on function sometime. I do.
But you know what? You may benefit from finding somebody to work under.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. Well, see, the problem with that also is that I'm on a job where I won't be vested until December. I graduate in July, but I'm there still until December.
Mm-hmm.
So I will be looking for a firm to go into once I.
And so you'll be able to walk in and go, I'm already familiar with QuickBooks. I've already done this and that. It's all good.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
you'll definitely when you graduate.
Possible before then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So but
that's funny.
Sometimes I just want to do like they do, just fall on the desk.
You chose this profession.
I did, didn't I? And I love every minute of it. It's just because I've been doing it for 10 years, you know, pretty much working for the city, but just with a different operating system or a different financial software system. That's it, you know. But
yeah, sometimes the learn
accounting is. You talk about wonky.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Government accounting is.
I hate it with a passion.
Government accounting is completely different, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So it's nonprofit, which is why I don't have any nonprofit clients.
Difficult.
My husband's here. He brought supper. I love you guys, but I'm hungry.
All right. It's nice to meet you.
Mark. We haven't seen you in a long time. Don't be hiding back there. You better come forward and say hi to everybody. We can't see you. Come on. Hi.
Hello.
We haven't seen you in a long time.
We've been traveling and we did Scaling New Heights and then I got sick. So.
Wow.
All right, we're going to run.
Bye.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you, Peggy.
You too. Thank you so much.
All right, bye.
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 Okay, so.
You'll get it. You'll figure it out. It's not a problem.
Peggy,
Huh?
you know, I just started using QuickBook myself, so you're not the only one that's learning.
Yeah, right? I'm telling you, Linda said something. I'm like, ooh, I wonder if that's my problem. And I went and ran and did what she said. Oh, I found it.
Linda, your headphones working now?
It's driving me crazy.
I figured out the problem though. When I stick this in, I have to like hold it in place to get it to be at the right place to hear it.
So it doesn't sound like it's the right size.
It just doesn't line up right on the inside.
So you need an adapter. You need an adapter.
I asked them at the Bose store and they said no.
No, yeah, but it's not the Bose people, it's the computer. So right now I'm using this, right? This is my headphones. This is a longer extension that goes into my computer. You see it?
Okay.
It's just an extender, but this is what goes into my computer, so it looks a little different, right?
Yeah, it does.
You see? See? So you can
I do.
You can get this part.
That's okay. That's just too complicated for me. They told me I could take it back in 30 days. I'll take it back. I don't have time to do all that. I'm not as young as you are, and enough is enough. If I can't pay $100 or $110 and get something I can plug in, then it's going back. I'm sorry. Just
tired of playing with it, huh?
Dollar General got some $5 ones that work really good too.
But here's the problem.
I'm just teasing.
Here's the thing. It may be the computer, not the headphones.
It could be the port.
That's the problem. That's why I'm thinking
on the
to
computer.
order another computer and get rid of this one. I bought this one at Costco, so if I didn't like it, I could return it.
Oh, you're talking about returning the computer itself, not the headphones. Okay.
I don't really like it much. It's a Windows 10. And
you know what? I saw one of your videos when you guys were complaining about the Windows 10. I happen to like it. I don't see what the problem is.
But have you been using Windows 7?
I'm still on 7.
Have you been using the stuff prior?
I use it at work.
But here's the thing. A lot of peripherals, a lot of software was not compatible with 10. So it was literally having to relearn and try to find workarounds for so many things. Like, for example, when they came out with the 10, I did the upgrade, and then my printer stopped working and it refused to update my computer.
Wow.
Yeah,
so
on this one too.
Yeah, because it's like Microsoft did what they did and then forced everybody else to either scrap older.
We lost you, Misha.
To scrap, like now we have to buy new equipment because these companies don't want to update their drivers or update update the softwares. So now they're forcing people to buy new product that is more expensive.
This was when I first got it, it was a 8, Windows 8. I woke up one morning and Windows 10 was there, and I was like, "Whoa!" Yeah,
and that was the other thing. When
I know what they did, I ended up deleting all my files, and I like cried like a baby for like 2 days.
And they were sneaky in that they put it in an update. Yep. And if you didn't do, you did your normal update and it came in and you were like, what the hell happened?
I was asleep when it came in. I woke up and there it was right there, and I'm like, they said you could revert back, but all my files gone. What's the point?
Isn't that awful?
In talking to some of my techie buddies, there's also a difference if you buy a computer that already has Windows 10 installed on it when you buy it. That's one thing. Yep. But if you had a computer that had Windows 7 on it or 8, and then it got an update, it can react strange with your peripheral devices. It's all, like Misha said, it's the drivers and all of that,
Yeah, because I did the update versus buying I'm using an older computer. This computer that I'm on right now, I got it in 2011, and because they're updating everything. The printer I have is a color all-in-one multifunction. I got it in 2011. That would mean I'd have to either buy a new computer, buy a new printer, scanner, copier. I have scanners, neat scanners. I have all these other things that I plug in.
Right.
I would have to, make sure all of those work with the new software. And the stuff that they were telling you to get for free was the test. It was like the beta test. It wasn't even like fully. It had bugs. It had kinks. It had problems.
Yeah.
So they were using everybody as guinea pigs to get it for free, so they can quote unquote fix whatever before they roll it out for sale.
I don't buy any software when it first come out. I just refuse to.
Question. Is anybody still getting, I'm looking at my QuickBooks Premier Accountant 2017, and the big red exclamation point, please click restart now to restart QuickBooks and install updates. And QuickBooks actually works fine, but you go to install updates and
I had the same problem, and I don't know, I just keep ignoring it.
that's what I'm going to do. But is QuickBooks working to fix it?
Who knows? They don't do nothing.
You know what you might want to try, Linda? Try clicking on the desktop icon, right click, and run as administrator.
Oh, okay, I'll do that.
That will work.
Right click and do what to run as administrator?
The data file as administrator too.
You right click on the icon?
The icon on your desktop.
Yeah, except that I can't do that because I'm in Cuba.
Oh.
It shouldn't matter. I'm in Qbox too. Maybe that has something to do with it, but that shouldn't matter.
It's ironic because something just popped up. How likely are you to recommend Windows 10 to a friend?
They're listening to it. I know.
Okay.
So we're about at the end of our hour. Is there anything else anyone wants to talk about? And Sandy, Brandon just popped off. I was going to tell you, see Brandon if you have POS questions. He's the POS guy.
Yes, he's great.
I even want to think about that.
Definitely get in touch with him.
He's in our group, so you could message him directly in our group or put a post up in our group.
He's also he's what they call a reseller. He's in the Intuit reseller program. And if you want to get involved in doing that, you can be underneath him and do that, which I'm not the least bit interested in. So if I have any clients that want to buy a product from Intuit, I have them work with Brandon, and he has been fantastic at delivering product to my clients that wanted to buy from Intuit. So,
okay.
Yeah, he's excellent to work with. He's available kind of outside of normal hours, which I like. So, have you stopped